Peace family. I'm doing this video today to talk about the shadow self. Okay, so what is the shadow self? The shadow self is simply what is within that you have not brought to consciousness yet. Within the shadow can be blocked, distorted energy from old past emotions and beliefs that you have unconsciously suppressed. The shadow can be composed of weaknesses, desires, perversions, and embarrassing fears. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just talk a little bit about each sentence that I just read. Okay, so the first one, which is explaining what is the shadow self. According to this definition, is simply what is within that you have not brought to consciousness yet. So that means that your shadow self is a part of your personality, but it's a part of your personality that you're not aware of. That's pretty much simply it. That's why it's called the shadow self, because it lies in the shadow, just like speaking physically. So I might have a shadow now. I guess depending on how the light hits you or whatever, you'll cast a shadow. And just like that same shadow, you could walk this way, it's going to follow you. You could walk that way, it's going to follow you. You could try to take off and run, it's going to be right on your heels, literally. Okay? Similar concept. But this is just a non-physical description, the shadow self, okay? So now that we understand that we can't get away from the shadow self, I'm going to read the next sentence. Okay, so within the shadow can be blocked, distorted energy from old past emotions and beliefs that you have unconsciously suppressed. So basically, because of some old past emotions, and a lot of these old past emotions will stem from childhood, because the past, that's when you was a child. There could be situations that happened in childhood. It could be also beliefs that you hold. They could be limited beliefs that you hold about yourself. And these limited beliefs could have even stemmed from childhood. It could have been things that you experienced that caused you to feel like you're not good enough, or you're not smart enough, or you're not courageous enough, or whatever the case may be, okay? These feelings you unconsciously suppress because you don't like those feelings. You don't want to deal with that. You don't like the way it makes you feel to own that. And so you tuck them away. Now the last sentence says the shadow can be composed of weaknesses, desires, perversions, and embarrassing fears. Yeah, weaknesses. Maybe you feel like you don't have enough confidence to get the things that you want and to accomplish your goals. Desires. I would say that could sometimes be suppressed desires that we have, that we don't want to face, that we have, because maybe it's something embarrassing or taboo about those desires. Okay. Perversions, I guess that would kind of be similar to like desires, but on different well, let me not say that. Perversions, anything that is perverse, that we think is perverse, we're going to tend to, for one, cast a judgment about it, right? Because it's a perversion, right? And secondly, we're going to distance ourselves from any perversions that we may have, and so we'll act like we don't have them. All right? And embarrassing fears, whatever that could be. That's just a broad spectrum. It's pretty much what it says, any embarrassing fears. So with that being said, what happens is because these desires, weaknesses, perversions, block distorted energy from old emotions and beliefs, limited beliefs in particular, they have to be brought to the surface, because it's the only way for us to really know who we truly are. And I'm going to give an example. Let's say you have a limited belief of maybe you feel you're a coward, let's just say. So because you have this unconscious belief that you're a coward, what might happen is that in your life you may encounter situations that validate that belief. You could run into maybe a lot of bullies in your life, and you don't stand up to these bullies. And so there you have it. You just validated this belief that you have, that you don't know you have. And then you go to some other school or some other neighborhood, and it's the same situation. You get faced with a situation where somebody challenges your courage or your bravery, and you don't rise to the occasion. Why? Because deep down inside you got that limited belief that you're a coward, and you really need to shake that. So the sooner you realize that you have that limited belief, that you're holding that belief somewhere deep down inside of you and you're not conscious of it, this is why you're running into these situations. And it's not for you to even cast blame on the bullies and say, oh, they've made my life miserable because they bullied me. Meanwhile, you didn't realize you had a part that you was playing in that. You was on a spiritual level attracting that situation because it was a way where the shadow could maybe force you to face what is in you, which is that you're a coward and you need to start taking steps to, well, not even really take steps. You really just got to change your belief. And but I would say that when you're doing shadow work, and if you was doing shadow work in regard to being a coward, let's say, there's a good chance that a test is going to present itself. Once you realize that you brought it into your awareness that you had cowardice beliefs, a test will arise to see if you really integrated that part of yourself. And then you'll see how you do. But that's just one example. And that's all I'm going to say for now, because I like to keep it short and sweet. And I hope that example helped someone. All right, peace.